Hi, Matthew with F-Class Community Channel, and thank you for joining me. First off, I would like to thank you for either subscribing, liking, or disliking my videos. I am the first one to admit that I'm not the best at speaking, so I'm just going to work off some notes here. So please don't mind me if I look down at my notes while during this video. One of the things that F-Class Community Channel and my hope that this channel does is get new competitive F-Class shooters out. That we reach more competitive shooters and we really make this sport grow locally and internationally as well. And hopefully, may you be a beginner F-Class competitor, or if you are a competitor who's been in this sport for a very long time, I'd like to thank you for just tuning in. And hopefully the information I provide is relevant to all of you. Maybe just experimenting with hand throating or different equipment that I'm testing out, or also some aspects of load development. So if you have any questions or any ideas of a subject that you would like to cover, I'll try my best. I don't claim to be an expert at all, but hopefully through research and talking with a few other people, I can get that information to you in a timely manner, or I will tell you if I can answer it or not. I'd be very honest. I'm not expert by any means. However, I do have a passion. I have a passion for all the competitors out there. And, you know, one of the key things that philosophies that I work by is, how do you know you're one of the best shooters if you have nobody to compete against? So, you know, that's one of the greatest things is develop and foster competition with other competitors, may it be new or old. That's the only way to challenge yourself. So what I would like to cover off in this video is, as a beginning F-Class competitor, or a competitor who's in the sport, going into a competition, what strategy should you employ to get on paper and shoot your best score? And hopefully this strategy, these two strategies will keep it simple enough for you, yet also challenge you to take a next step to getting better in F-Class as well. And I think what we'll do is we'll have two parts to this video. The first part I'm going to cover is just the very simple technique of holding center and putting on your windage on your scope. So what that would look like is out of all of the techniques, one thing is true, that it really challenges you as a competitive F-Class shooter, or a competitor at all, in any sport actually, in shooting, is that you're able to hold good elevation consistently with your ammunition. What that entails is that your ammunition has to be able to hold half a minute or better elevation in order to compete in F-Class or be competitive in F-Class. So what that would entail, I'm just going to grab my cleaner out here, is that your ammunition must be able to hold half a minute, and this is a 1,000-yard target, and we'll use a 1,000-yard target as example, is that there's 5 inches at 1,000 yards is half a minute of accuracy. So from top to bottom of the X-ring, and from the left and right side of the X-ring, that's half a minute in total. So it's a quarter minute from center to the edge of the F-Class X-ring, or the V-bolt in the ICFRA terms. So what you would need to do is, in your reloading, your ammunition, if you're holding onto this water line, and this is one of the terminologies we use, that your ammunition must be able to hold within this zone in order to produce and be able to shoot good scores going into your competition. So with this technique, let's say your elevation is good, you've spent your time doing your homework, load developing, what you would do is going in the first technique is holding center and dialing your elevation. Is your horizontal crosshair is on this water line where the numbers cut across the target, and your vertical crosshair, and not to hit the top there, is holding on the center, cutting through the center and dividing the target vertically. So that is your first technique, and what you would do is you would hold that for your 15 to 20 shot strings for your score, and in your decision and evaluation, dial in left or right the wind that you are estimating, that wind value that you're estimating or seeing on the flags or in the mirage. So that is your first strategy. It is a keep it simple strategy to going to your first F-class match, and hopefully that will give you one of your good scores to start off and develop your interest in F-class. Now there are pros and cons to this technique. The positive side of it is you're holding center. Your crosshair is always on the center of target, and you're able to at least hopefully put the rounds, depending on your wind, within this target area, and you always have your target in the view of your view of your scope and center of your crosshair. So there's no guessing left or right. You're holding tried and true and dialing that windage value, maybe half minute, left or right, in order to compensate. So what you would do is, if the wind is coming from the left, you would dial in half a minute left, or if it's coming from right, you dial in that windage to the right in order to compensate and bring your bullet back to the center. So basically, you're using your scope as compensating and aim off point. So that's the first technique. The negative side of that technique is it gives a little bit less margin of error, because you're cutting your area in half. You have to be able to be half a minute or better in terms of your wind estimation. Let's say we're just using the X-ring as the example of how good you have to be able to read wind, and you really have to think of wind in minutes of value. So this is a total of half a minute of half a minute in terms of diameter. But from the center, because you're holding center all the time, to the edge of the X-ring is only a quarter of a minute. So your wind estimation, in order to get to an X-ring all the time, has to be a quarter of a minute or better, which is up to you to decide, and up to but what it will do is challenge you to read that wind value, and you really learn that wind value and get you on paper. And it's a technique that I have to say I haven't developed very well, because I don't work very well with numbers. However, it will get you to that next level, and it comes with practice. More time you spend behind the rifle, reading the mirage and dialing in your wind on your scope will give you a better chance and develop that skill as a wind reader in F-class. So that is your first part of the F-class community tip in terms of strategies to take into your first F-class match. So this is Matthew with F-class Community Channel. If you have any questions or comments in regards to this strategy, please put it in the comment section below, or if I don't cover a certain strategy, maybe I can do a little bit of research, but at least that's part one. Part two is holding and shooting, and I will cover that in a separate video. So, Matthew with F-class Community Channel, keep an eye on the flags and tight groups.